Hello everyone. So between now and the last video, I actually deployed our project to Netlify. So if you head over to trigger.netlify.app, then you're going to find our project being hosted on that website. So we have the About Us page, which we did in the last video, with the Let's Talk page, which we are going to do now, and then we have the Get Started. Now, I thought that was necessary to mention because of something that we're going to do in the future, which I'm not going to say right now. So if you want to deploy your project as well, you can head over to Netlify. You can create an account, or you can log in if you already have an account, and then you can just say new site from Git, and you can select the repository that you want from your GitHub or from whatever Git provider that you're using. So that's that. And once again, if you want the repository, this is the link to the repository. It's going to be in the video description. You can clone it, or you can download the zip file, and then you'll have to run npm install and then npm start. So in this video, I want us to deal with our contact us page. Okay, now my development server is already running on localhost 3000. That's why we can see this. And then for the contact us page, what we need to do is, come on, where is it? So for the contact us page, what we need to do is almost something similar to what we have been doing. Actually, it's just resetting a bit of the styling. So what I'm going to do is grab this entire section. Okay, I'm going to grab this entire section, and I'm going to close this and close this and close this, and then I'm going to go into our contact us page right here, contact us.js, and then I'm going to replace this with an empty fragment, and then paste this section in. If you're wondering about this fragment, it's because you can only return one item in our return statement. Okay, you can only return one item, and the fragment serves as the kind of parent for everyone. You can return the section here as well, but I just don't like doing that. Okay, so this is going to be our About Us page. Now we just need to change this import. This is going to be coming from contact, which is the name of our image. So I'm going to say import contact from / should be contact.svg. Okay, and then once you save this, then you should see this on the screen. That's amazing. Now what we need to do is just change this second article, because we're going to be displaying a contact us form. Okay, and this contact us form is going to be powered by Netlify. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. So I'm going to create a form inside here, and I'm going to create a label, and I've forgotten how I created this. Actually, let me just confirm that. So we have a kind of h1 that says let's talk some. So let's have that here. Let's say an h2 that says let's talk some, and let's just have it as an h1 for reasons that it's easily detectable by Google. So this one is going to say, the label for this is going to say what is your name. The label for this, the HTML for is going to be name. Okay, and then input with a type of text with a name of name and an ID of name. Okay, we're going to say placeholder that says your name, and set this to required as well. Okay, and then we're going to have another input with a type of email, with a name of email, with an ID of email, with placeholder that says enter your email, and then set it to required as well. And of course, I forgot to add the label for email, so let's add it at the top. So label for email. Okay, and by the way, the autocomplete that I have is from Emmet. So if I just say label and press enter or tab, then it's just going to create that for me. It's just a bit faster. So let me say, what is it? Enter email. I didn't have the email section here, but we need to have it. So enter your email address. Now, it will be prudent for you to have some kind of validation function to validate whether the email entered is correct, or whether the name entered, I mean the string is not empty, basically, for the name, and then some kind of regex for the email. But I don't want to do that, and I'm not actually going to do that. So let's have another label here for, let's just say text area. This is going to say I want us to talk about, so I want us to talk about ... And then let's have a text area. So text area with a name of text area, with an ID of text area, columns 30, rows 10. That's fantastic. And actually that should be it. You know what, let's add a placeholder. So placeholder, I want us to talk about ... and set it to required as well. So let's save this. Let's see what we have on the screen, and we should have this very horrible looking, right? So let's style this out. Let's go inside the form. Should be the form, I think. Okay, let's give this a class name of flex items. No, let's say flex column. Let me see how this looks. Okay, that's fantastic. That's amazing. and then the inputs and the text area should have a transparent background. So let me go inside our index.css so that I can just add it once. So I'm going to say input and text area, let's say background color, set this to transparent. Okay, that's because I don't want to keep on jumping from this one to this one to this one and adding the same tags. Okay, so let's do that once, and then let's begin styling this out. And actually, you know what, we can just tell all the inputs inside here as well. So let's say input, target the input, we're going to say border dash bottom, and I'm going to say solid, let's say 2 pixels, solid and white. So the other looks okay, fantastic. Let's say padding of 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 15 pixels on the left and right. Let's have a border radius of rounded, sorry, that's a tailwind class, let's say 10 pixels. Okay, move this up, actually move this at the top. Let's say font family, actually has it inherited? Yeah, it has inherited the font family, so we don't need to specify that. And then what else do we need to do? I don't think there's anything else we need to do on the inputs actually, and this is not what I wanted. Okay, now the reason why this is happening is because the padding that we have on the left and right is greater than the border radius that we have at the bottom. So if I change this back to 10, if I just set it to 10, look at that, it would be and actually that's the wrong thing. It should be, let's add that to 15 once again. The border radius here should be lesser, right? Let's see, 5 pixels. Yeah, it should be lesser. So let's set this to around let's say 3 pixels. Oh, you know what, border radius, okay, you know what, we don't even need to have a kind of large border radius because it's not technically visible. So you can have it at 2 pixels and that should be fine. Okay, and then for the inputs, let's see what we can do. I can say margin bottom of 10 pixels to push the inputs away from one another, but let me see, how does 50 pixels look? Does that move away? Okay, there we go. So let's say 20 pixels. The reason why this scroll bar was introduced is because we have a text area at the bottom right here. Okay, so don't forget about that. And then let's see, we have the inputs and everything is fantastic. So let's go back into our contact us and let's tell this h1 right here. So let's go inside this h1, where are you? Here. Okay, give this a class name of flex, not flex, what am I doing? Let's say text dash for XL. Let's say margin bottom of 5, push that from that. Let's say margin top of 10. Okay, let's talk some, let's say font bold. So font bold, make it bold. Fantastic. Okay, that's looking almost amazing. Now one thing that I do have an issue with is I can't see the text area, right? I can't see the text area. How did I? Okay, so the text area has a rounded border. So let's do that for the text area. So let's say text area, let's say border of what do I have here? 2 pixels. So let's say 2 pixels, solid and white as well. Okay, so I'm going to have that. Let's add a border radius of 5 pixels. Let's say margin top of 5 pixels. Fantastic. Let's add a padding of 10 pixels to push this text inwards just a bit. Fantastic. And what padding do I have on the left and right here? 15. So let's make it 15 so that it's uniform with the inputs as well. Okay, that's looking almost amazing. We just need to scale it up, and of course it's already scaled up because we copied the styles, but I want this to go to the left and then this to go to the right. So let's go back into contact us and then let's just grab the entirety of this article from here to here, cut this out and then just paste it above this. Okay, and voila, so we're going to have that. Now one thing that this is going to be a problem is that now when we do this now the image appears on the bottom. I don't want that to happen, so what I'm going to do is inside this div I'm going to remove this grid right here. I'm going to remove this gap as well, and then actually now let's just remove all these styles, and then let's say flex. Okay, and then flex column reverse, which will just bring the image on the top and then our form on the bottom, right? You know what, would it be better if this h1 is at the top and then the image? Would that be better? I'm not sure. Let's try to move it above right here. I don't know. Let's see. Probably, right? Probably it would be better. Let's just have it there and let's see how this looks. Okay, and then let's go right inside here. Let's say that for medium screens, then I want to display this as a grid, and then grid, come on, grid columns, let's say columns 2, and then items dash center for medium screens, of course. So let's see that. Let's increase this to here. Not a fan of this, not a fan of this because of item center. So let's move that. Still not a fan of it. Let's add a grid gap to separate this image right here. So let's say gap of 10. Gap dash 10, so not full column, so gap dash 10, so that we're going to have this. And of course, as always, I always forget the submit button, but we're going to add that in a moment. Now what you can do is I'm not sure about this h1 here, so let me just try and move it to where it was. Let me see how this, there we go. Okay, so let's just move the h1 downwards so that the image is going to move upwards, and we're going to have that looking amazing, looking fantastic. Now we need a submit button on this form, so let's go to the bottom of the form right around here. Let's add a button with the type of submit that says send. Okay, and we're going to have that, and it's at the center because I have item center here. No, I have flex column. So let me grab this, give this a class name of, come on, of block. Okay, let's say text dash left, should go back to the left. There we go. So let's margin top of 5, let's say bg white, let's say padding y2, padding x of 6, let's say rounded dash large, let's add a box shadow, let's say text dash let's say gray dash 900. Okay, so we're going to have this. Now the reason why I added the slight background is because I just wanted to see how the button would look, but I don't want this bg white, so let's remove it. And we're going to have actually not text gray 900 should now say text white. So we see our submit button, send right there. Okay, fantastic. And we can also see the slight kind of box shadow, right? Do you see it? So let's see. Let's go inside our form and let's say item start. Okay. No, I don't like that. I don't like item start. So let's remove this. And you know that is going to be our form. But remember, we added some margin on the top in the because we copied these styles, right? We added some margin on the top of the, where is it, right here, margin top of 20. So we can remove this actually, and we're going to have that. So let's talk some and and we have this and this and this. So that's looking amazing. Okay, now one thing that I didn't want to do is you will realize that this form is technically functional, but if you try to submit anything, then it doesn't go anywhere, right? So what we need to do is incorporate Netlify into it, right? So let's go back into our index.html, okay? And this is a bit different in terms of adding Netlify form submissions. But let's go into index.html right here, and I think I'm just going to go in the body, and I'm just going to say contact form, place a comment, so contact form, and you can place a comment by control and / just like that. It's a toggle. Okay, and inside our index.html, we're just going to create a similar form to what we had in our contact us, right? So I'm going to create a form inside here, and then I'm going to create an input with the type of text, with the name of name, with an ID of name. Okay, we had a label, right? This is label for name, and what did it say? It says what is your name. So what is your name? Now one thing you'll notice is that now we're in HTML, so this is a label 4. But when we go inside JSX, then this becomes label HTML4, and the reason for that is because JavaScript has a keyword of 4 that we can't use inside here. Remember, JSX is just JavaScript in XML. So let's add another one here. We're going to have an input with a type of email, with a name of email, with an ID of email, and of course we need a label for this. This is a label for email, and it says enter your email address. Okay, oops, there we go. And then what else did we have? We had a text area, so let's add a text area. So label for text area, let's just copy this, and then oops, let's say I want us to talk about ... and then let's have a text area with a name of text area with an ID of text area, and that is that. Okay, now one thing that we do need to do is we need to make sure that the name that we have inside here corresponds to the name that we are going to have that we have in our text area here. So this is the name of text area, just confirming that that's correct. And not instead of this being text area, let's just say message, because it's a bit more descriptive, right? And then let's also change this name to message, like so. Okay, and probably if you don't know, the 4 here refers to the ID. Okay, it doesn't refer to the name of the text area, it refers to the ID. And then the input for the name for this is name, so let's just confirm that we have the name here, and then this is email, and then that is email. Now what we need to do is add an attribute on the form here called netlify. Okay, and once we do that and we deploy to netlify, then netlify is automatically going to add all the form submission stuff for us. Okay, so let's save this. And by the way, if you want to prevent some spam from bots, then you can also add what's the attribute? It's called netlify. It's called netlify honeypot, and then this is equal to bot field. Come on, and then we set this to hidden. Okay, I think this should be okay. You know what? I think this should be okay. So what I'm going to do is, remember we deployed our project, so I'm just going to redeploy this, and then we're going to see if it's working. So let's cd into pages here, and let's say git add contact us.js and git commit, let's say contact us page. Let's cd out of this, let's say git add index.css. What did I add in index.css? Added the input. So let's say git commit style inputs and text area. Let's say git add let's first cd out of the source, let's cd into the public folder. Let's say git add index.html, let's say git commit, and let's say add netlify form. Okay, and let's say git push. Now if you're wondering why my index.js is modified, okay, all I did is remove the semicolons that were here, and then change this to double quotes instead of single quotes. So that's all that is changed in this index.html file. So don't worry about that, yours is not going to be changed. Okay, I just thought I should mention it in case you're wondering. Okay, so that will begin a deploy for us, so we can go ahead into netlify to check how it's going on. Okay, so let's go into netlify, and then let me log in, and it should trigger an auto deploy. And actually, you know what, it's already done, so that's looking fantastic. So let's open this up, and we should see about us. We have this, we have let's talk, and we have our image, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I've filled in some dummy data, and we have this. So let me say send, and we should see, oops. It happens, guys, it happens. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, let's see what we have in the content. Oh, and by the way, you know what, this is fantastic, because I've also realized something else. Right now, let me just go back into our original page, and let me show you what I realized. Okay, so notice how this is the home page, right? If you go into the about us page, we have the / about us, but notice this, if I reload, I get an error page. But we're on the about us page, which is not an error page, right? Now let me show you how you can fix that. Let's go back into our into VS Code, and then I'm going to add a netlify.toml file, netlify.toml. Okay, and then inside here we're going to have redirects, and we are redirecting from equals to /**, and we are redirecting this to index.html, like so, with a status of 200. Is that how you do it? Okay, let me just confirm this. Okay, so this should say redirect into /index.html. Okay, so let's save that, and then let's deploy this netlify.toml file. So let me say git, come on, I hate it when it does that. So let's say cd into actually don't need to cd, we can just say git add netlify.toml file, and git commit, we can say netlify redirects. So let's say git push, and this should trigger a redeploy of our project, right? And actually I shouldn't have done that because we haven't yet fixed our form issue. Okay, so I think the reason why this is happening is because this form doesn't have a name. Okay, so we need a name attribute for this, and I'm just going to call this contact form. And then I'm going to go into, of course, save this, and then go into our contact as form. And where's the form here? We're going to add a name attribute to this and call this contact dash form. Okay, and you know what, I don't think we need to add this here. I don't think we need to add this here, but we need to add a method of post for this so that we don't expose the data once we submit the form. So let's try that again. Okay, so let's see cd into public, let's say git add index.html and git commit, let's say add name attribute on form, cd out of this and cd into the source, and let's say git add where is it, in cd into pages. So git add contact us.js. What did I add? I forgot on the method post. Let's say git commit add form method, and let's say git push, which will trigger a redeploy once again. Okay, so I'm still at the broken link, and once Netlify finishes this deploy, then it's still building. Then once I reload this, then it should work. I just want to test it out whether that is how it's going to work. So it's still building. Let's go into, where is it, the deploys, and it's done. Okay, it's done. So let's reload this. Let's see, and look at that. Now that is possible because of the netlify.toml file. And let's try again and fill in this form. Okay, and then let's try and submit it, and hopefully this works. I hate this. I hate this. Okay, so let me just check whether these forms are okay. We have two forms. Okay, now the reason why we have these two forms is because the first one didn't have a name attribute, so we named this one contact form, and we can delete this form actually. This for previous submission, of course, let's say form 1. Okay, so delete this, and I'm wondering, why isn't this one working? It should be working. It should be working. Why aren't you working? Come on, don't do this to me. Alright guys, so it took about 35 minutes and 5 tries to finally get this correctly. Now I'm going to add some dummy data, and then I'm just going to say testing. Okay, and then look at this. Now when you submit it, now we get this, thank you, your form has been received, and that is correct. Now if I go into my dashboard right inside here and go into forms, then you'll see that I have a contact form and we have a form submission that I've just submitted right now. Okay, now I'm going to leave this link in the description because I'm not quite sure what I changed, because I remember we had the name with the contact form right here, we have the Netlify attribute, this the index.html file, and then we have the Netlify honeypot for the bot field so that it doesn't show the what's it called, it doesn't show a captcha when we submit the form. And then we have our labels and inputs. In whether the labels are optional, I've just read that the labels are optional in this blog post. And then in our contact us form in our JSX, what I've changed is I've added where is it, this is a form, the name is here, the method is post. Okay, I've added this input with the type of hidden for the form name, this the value contact, I think this is for the bots as well. And then I don't think I've changed any of these inputs inside here. But once we added this, well, I think it's when I added this, that's when the contact form started working, and I've deployed it to GitHub. So when you clone this, actually when you clone this repository, then you're going to have these corrections inside there. But I hope you have enjoyed the code along, and in the next video we're going to start dealing with our login and our sign up page. Okay guys, so I wanted to explain something. In the first video, I think it was, or the second maybe, I mentioned that I wanted to use passport.js for our authentication, but I've decided that instead of that, I'm going to use Netlify's authentication service called Netlify Identity. Okay, so if you go into your dashboard for your website, if you have deployed this, of course, and you will need to actually deploy it, by the way, then if you go into the identity tab right here, then you can see it says manage signups, logins, password recovery, and more, all without rolling out your own authentication service. So what I'm going to do right here is just say enable identity. Okay, And you know what, I'm going to save this for the next video, so see you in the next video.